Hello, my name is Jonathan Romero. Today I'll be presenting my creative critical reflection on the magazine did for Cambridge Course Media Studies. Now here's the table of contents. So basically this is what the questions that were provided by Cambridge and which I'll be responding to in this presentation. So the first question is, how does your product use or challenge convictions, and how does it present social groups or issues? Well, my magazine project follows many traditional conventions of a sports magazine. However, it challenges a few and it works to present social groups and important issues in a unique way. So, starting off with the magazine cover, I used a bold, simple title, Intensity, to grab the reader's attention. This is very typical for sports magazines because it immediately grabs the reader's attention. I made sure that the title was simple but powerful to match the feeling of the competitive sports moment. The cover image now shows two high school athletes in the middle of an intense soccer match, which they are both fighting for the ball. This follows the usual convention of using action shots on the cover to create excitement and show motion. However, it also challenges expectations because most professional magazines usually feature famous athletes or professional teams. However, in my magazine, I tend to shine a light on local high school players, showing that passion, competition, and hard work aren't limited to big names. This helps represent young athletes and highlights that their efforts and stories are just as important and inspiring as professionals. Now going to the table of contents, I continue to follow my magazine convention by keeping the design clean and organized, using bold headings, columns, and clear page numbers. I use a bright green neon to highlight certain sections, which draws the reader's eye and keeps the energy of the magazine high. The photo on the contents page shows a group of soccer players celebrating together, creating a strong emotional connection. This challenges a little bit of the usual focus on individual achievements by emphasizing teamwork and unity instead. It represents how sports are not just only about winning, but it also presents how it builds relationships, supporting teammates, and creating unforgettable memories. It highlights a social group that doesn't always get attention, which are teams that play simply because they love the sport and the community it builds. Now looking at the article page, specifically on this one, which is titled "A New Dream is Born," the design uses bold text for the headline and strong action shots to keep the energy high. This follows typical magazine layouts, where big titles and dynamic images are used to pull the reader into the story. The article talks about soccer's global importance and how it connects people from all around the world. By choosing to focus on a local match instead of a major international event, it challenges the idea that only big televised games matters. It also shows that even at local levels, soccer has a huge emotional impact and can inspire dreams and ambition. The pictures I selected show players from different backgrounds, will help represent diversity in sports and the idea that soccer, or in sports in general, are for everyone, and not just for a specific group. Now, my magazine engages with audiences by focusing on stories and images that people can connect to personally and emotionally. Rather than using images of professional or celebrity athletes like you see in big sports magazines, I made a choice to highlight local high school players. This decision makes the magazine feel more personal and relatable, especially to students, families, coaches, and anyone involved in school sports or by the local community. By showcasing real players who readers might actually know or recognize, the magazine builds a stronger connection with its audience and shows that hard work and passion exist at all levels, and not just in professional ones. Photography also plays a big role in grabbing the audience's attention. I made sure to capture the action shots that are full of energy, showing real moments of intensity, teamwork, and celebration. These images make the magazine feel exciting and alive, encouraging readers to keep flipping through the pages to see more. I also use bold, eye-catching titles and organize the layouts in a clean but creative way, making the magazine easy to read while keeping the overall energy high. Beyond the visuals, the article focuses on topics that truly matter to young athletes and sports fans. I wrote about teamwork, motivation, chasing your dreams, and overcoming challenges, which are themes that are universal but especially meaningful to people involved in school sports. These topics help the audience feel unseen and understood because they reflect the real experiences and emotions they go through. By combining strong visuals with meaningful writing, my magazine creates a full experience that keeps readers both entertained and emotionally connected. If this were a real media product, it will be shared through platforms like YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, where it will be using short clips, interviews, and highlight videos. It could also be written as an article for a school newspaper, a blog, or sports website. A lot of these platforms are seen, and there where a lot of teenagers and sports fans are already spending time in. So it'll be a good way to get the story out to a bigger audience and keep them interested. Now, question three is, how do your production skills develop through this project? During this project, I think my production skills have really improved a lot. At the start, I didn't know too much about photography, but as I kept taking pictures from the magazine, I learned how to use better angles, lighting, and backgrounds to make the photos look more interesting and professional. I also got better at choosing the right moments to capture. When it came to editing pictures, I also started off using simple tools, but now I know how to adjust brightness, contrast, and colors to make the photos look a lot better. I even learned how to fix small details and make everything look more better. My design skills also grew. I learned how to organize pages better so they're easier to read and look more creative. I also figured out how to use shapes, colors, and different fonts to make the pages stand out while still keeping everything neat and clear. Writing was another big part of this project. I got better at writing in a way that fits the style of a magazine. I worked on writing short articles, captions, and headlines that grab attention and match the theme of each page. I also paid more attention to spelling, grammar, and making my writing flow better. And question four, how did you integrate technologies such as software, hardware, and online in this project? So I used a mix of different technologies to help me complete this project, including software, hardware, and online tools. For the design part of my magazine, I used Canva, which made it easier to create clean and professional looking layouts. It gave me a lot of options for fonts, shapes, and templates, so I could experiment with different styles to make each page look creative and organized. For my editing, I used Lightroom. At first, only knew the basics, but I also worked more with it. I also learned how to adjust lighting, contrast, and color to make my photos stand out. It really helped me improve the quality of my images and keep a consistent look throughout the magazine. I also use blogger.com, which I use to share my process and final product online. It was a good way to keep track of my progress and reflect on what I learned during each step. It also helped me practice presenting my work in a more professional and organized way. And as for hardware, I use camera to take my photos and a laptop to work on all the editing, designing, and writing. Using all these tools together helped me complete the project more efficiently and made my final magazine look more polished and creative. Thank you for paying attention to my presentation and have a wonderful day.